Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordyn. Welcome to today's video, which is another custom order crochet cardigan vlog. I'm so excited about this one because it is going to get me a little bit out of my comfort zone. Just enough to keep things fresh and interesting, but not too much to where I don't think it's going to come out amazing. So I'm so excited to get to it. Today's cardigan, I say today, but it will probably be a few days worth of work, is going to be a fun little scrappy cardigan. I got this request through my custom order inquiry form, which is just like a Google form that is kind of intended for custom orders like this that aren't just one of my regular listings on Etsy. Honestly, it would be fine if somebody was requesting something that I also sell on Etsy, because then I'd get around the Etsy fees and all of that. But really, the purpose of the custom order form is for any request that will require a little bit of back and forth between me and the customer for me to figure out what they're looking for, if I'm a good fit to make it for them, and then discuss pricing directly one-on-one without going through Etsy, because of course custom orders can vary a lot in, you know, how detailed they are, how much experience I have with the type of item, all the things. It just requires a lot more one-on-one discussion before agreeing on a price, taking a deposit, and moving forward with the order. But this is one of actually two fully custom orders that this customer has placed with me. Her name is Kendall. I am going to separate them into two separate videos because they're super different. It's going to take me two different lengths of time to finish them, and they're each worthy of their own video. But okay, let's get to what this cardigan is. So it's a scrappy cardigan, like I mentioned, and Kendall emailed me a couple of inspo photos, which were really helpful. So this is what the cardigan looks like that she is wanting a version of. So as you can see, it's a scrappy cardigan with a black base, meaning each scrap of yarn is held with a piece of black yarn. So it's going to become a double-stranded cardigan. And I'm so excited to make it for her. I think it's going to end up so cute. I did go ahead and get my hands on some Crafter's Secret Big Idea black acrylic yarn. Most of the scraps that I have on my yarn wall are acrylic, so I think that will make for the most cohesive cardigan. So I'm going to hold a strand of this with a strand of my scrap yarn to make for this cardigan. I did ask her if there were any colors she particularly loved that she wanted me to make sure to include in the cardigan, or any colors she really wanted me to stay away from, because it is helpful to have that information. And she said she doesn't really have a preference. She's open to any scraps that I have in my collection, but she probably would lean towards cooler tones if she had a choice, which is perfect. Let me pan you over and down a little bit, but as you can see, I have plenty of cool toned scraps in my collection. I have so many blues, I have a little bit of greens, and then I think with that color tone, it'll be perfect to also sprinkle in some of the like tans and creams that I have. And then I do plan to pop in some of the warm tones here and there as like accents, but the bulk is gonna be this blue, green, purple family. And I think this is just going to be so fun to try. I cannot wait to see how this comes out. I have made one true scrap basket in the past, and that was so fun to make. It turned out so well. I actually sold it at my last market, but that has definitely given me confidence to pursue the scrappy look. And then I have made one cardigan so far that is not a hexagon cardigan. Obviously, hexagon cardigans are kind of my bread and butter. They're what I do the most, but it is not the only way to make a cardigan, and I'm excited to get a little bit more exposure and experience doing non-hexagon cardigans. So like I said, I'm just going to use this picture as inspiration. As you can see, it's a bit cropped, which I think is really cute. She's asking for a size medium, so I should be able to use myself as a little bit of a reference. And I'm just going to go ahead and make this in panels. So I'll make the back panel, two front panels, and then two sleeve panels, and then seam it all up at the end, and then do the ribbing all the way around in black. And yeah, I'm really excited about it. First task is going to be filling this up with my first batch of yarn, and then I'm going to get started on my crochet cardigan panels, and I'll just check in every so often with some learnings that I'm having as I go, some progress updates, and hopefully end up with the cutest little scrappy cardigan that you've ever seen. Hello friends, here with my first update on the Scrappy cardigan because I got quite a bit done last night. I was really impressed with how quickly this worked up and I'm really happy with how it looks so far. As you can see, I definitely focused in on those cool toned colors that I said she liked, or that she said she liked. So lots of blues, greens, a couple strips of purple, and then I just interspersed some whites and creams. And yeah, I think it looks really nice. It looks really cohesive. I mean, obviously it looks scrappy. At least I'm hoping she likes how scrappy it looks and the colors and everything. My next task is to send her a picture of this to make sure she likes it. And then I also need to ask her about how cropped she wants this cardigan to be, because if she wants it as cropped as her inspiration picture looks, then I think this is the full back panel of the cardigan. I've kind of been measuring it against myself, as I said, because I do typically wear like a medium large. And so when I hold this up to my body, obviously, like I said, this will be the back panel, but if I hold it up to halfway covering my shoulder, it does hit me at like mid-waist length. And then I do plan to add a couple inches of that black ribbing on the bottom, which will also help me be able to adjust it a little bit if she wants it, you know, more or less cropped. So waiting to get that input, but for now, this back panel is complete. And like I said, I finished this in one evening. I think this took maybe 2 hours, so not bad at all. And I actually have quite a bit of yarn left. Like I used this cake a couple of times and barely made a dent into it. Same with this dark green, and this light green is a little bit more squishy than it started, but I have not used even close to all of it. I didn't prioritize my tiny scraps quite as much for the back panel because I want the look to match what I end up doing for the front panels and sleeves. So if you think about like how much yarn goes into each of these rows, obviously I need more yarn for these long rows, and I kind of tried to do 1 or 2 rows in each color. Obviously not full rows. I have plenty of rows that stop like halfway before we do a color change, but in order to replicate this on the front panels, the rows are going to be a lot shorter, so I can utilize a lot more of my tiny scraps, which I think will work out perfectly. So yeah, assuming she likes the look of this, I'm going to go ahead and get started on probably the front 2 panels next. I'll ask her if she wants me to incorporate other colors as well. Like I said, this is very heavily focused on the greens, blues, and purples. So if she wants to see splashes of like red, pink, yellow, or any other colors, I definitely can do it on the front and the sleeves, and I think it'll look fine. But if she just wants to continue with this exact color scheme, then I still will be set in terms of number of scraps that I have ready to go and everything like that. So yeah, that's the plan. Gonna continue working away on this. Oh, the one last thing I want to ask her about is these tails of the scraps. On the inspiration picture she shared, I couldn't see any scrap tails like poking out. So if she wants me to, I will, you know, tuck these in and make sure you can't see them. But I've also seen many scrap projects that are kind of trendy right now to just leave these scrap ends loose, and it really adds to just like the scrappy vibe of it. So I'm gonna ask her what she prefers. Happy to do it either way, but obviously if she is okay with having the scrap ends out, then that's just less work for me. So I'll get her input on that, and then I'll keep working along on this, and I'll be back when I have a little more progress to share. Okay, back with my next update. I have made quite a bit of progress on the cardigan. So this is what it's looking like so far. Obviously it's not complete, but okay, before I showed you the back panel as it was complete, and since then I have finished both front panels. So this is what they look like. I'm continuing to really enjoy how cohesive this cardigan is looking. Like I said, the customer originally said she probably mostly wants cooler colors, which has worked really well with the scraps that I have on hand anyway. And I think it's looking really cohesive and nice. I did send the customer some questions, like I mentioned, about the look of the cardigan, making sure that she likes it. And when I asked her about the colors, she did say splashes of other colors are fine, but she said whatever you think and whatever yarn I decide she's happy with. So we'll see how the sleeves go. I might do a couple of splashes of other colors. On this side, I did do more of like a pinky row here. It looks pretty purple on screen, but it's a little bit more pinky. And then on this one, I do have one row of like yellow, but again, it's pretty muted. It's not super vibrant and different from the rest of the cardigan. So we'll see. I probably will continue with most of the same through the sleeves, but I do have the freedom to incorporate other colors if I want to or need to. And then what else did I ask her about? So when I asked her about the length, she says waist/hip length. So this definitely so far is pretty cropped. Like I said, the next thing I want to do is try it on myself so I can see where it's hitting for now and then kind of gauge how much ribbing I want to do. And if I need to, I could add some more length to this. And then I asked her lastly about the ends of the scraps, as I was telling you about, because wherever I switched over the colors, I just tied it into a little knot. And for now have these little ends poking out. And she actually said I could just leave those, which is awesome. Obviously that's easier for me than trying to like poke them and tuck them either to the back or like kind of weaved in between the stitches. But it definitely is trendy right now to have the little scrap ends poking out. So I'm more than happy that she chose that as her preference. But yeah, then the last thing I did was just connect the front panels to the back panel. I just went ahead and did single crochet across the top. You can't even really see where I connected it. In person, I can see the line. Maybe it's just because I did it, but I did it with black yarn, and I think it's actually going to look perfect to have that little seam here because I am going to do the wrist cuffs and the bottom cuffs and like the front border also in solid black yarn. So I think actually having the seams also with that solid black will look really cohesive and perfect. So really happy with how it's coming together so far. Let me take off my sweatshirt and then I am just going to kind of drape this over my shoulders to make sure I'm liking how it's looking and fitting and everything. And like I said, then I'll make some decisions about the overall length. So be right back. Okay, I have it on. It's going to be a little bit hard to show exactly how this is looking because of what I can have in frame and everything, but okay, just draped over my shoulders. This is where it's hitting. I have a somewhat long torso, but right where it's ending right now is like my true waist. And then right here where my pants sit are like the top of my hips. So I think this is actually probably the right length for the cardigan because like I said, I will be adding some ribbing here and that will probably get it to hit right at the top of the hips. So if she's thinking like waist/hip length, somewhere in here is perfect. And like I said, I do have a pretty long torso, so it's very possible that this will land at the top of my hips, but that could be like the middle of her hips. And then I really like how this is all fitting so far. I just need to use my stitch markers and basically plan out where I want the sleeve to be, like the width of the sleeve, so that I can just connect the sides wherever the sleeves won't be, and then I will run the sleeves off of here. Like I said, I'm kind of winging all of this, so as long as it is fitting me generally well, then I think it will be a success. And I think this whole part is hitting me perfectly. There's enough space for my neck. And then I think I will just do like a single crochet border around the whole front of the cardigan and go around the neck, come down the other side so that this doesn't get too closed off here in front. I do want it to be open like a cardigan is supposed to, but then I will have ribbing on the cuffs, ribbing on the bottom. I think the whole back is gonna look nice. Obviously this will be connected here so it'll come in a little bit. But yeah, okay, I think I'm really happy with this. So like I said, what I'm gonna do next is mark off where I want the sleeves to be on the sides. I'll probably just mark them and then open it up and do the sleeves as a flat panel. And then I will seam up the whole bottom of the sleeves and the side of the cardigan. Then I will do all the ribbing, and then I can do the single crochet border here anytime. I think it's coming together really nicely. So I'll be back with my next update whenever I have it. Okay, it is the next day. I made quite a bit of progress last night, so I'm excited to show you. It is going to start looking like an actual cardigan. So I did go ahead and get both sleeves all crocheted up. So the way that I did this was, like I said, I tried on the cardigan just over my shoulders. This is still not connected. It's still like open. I don't know if you can see any of that. I put it over my shoulders and then I marked where I want the sleeves to start and end. So basically I made sure there was enough room for the sleeves to go all the way around my arm and close comfortably over the armpit. And I just marked those with some stitch markers, and I counted to make sure that it was the same number of rows up on both sides. And then when you do that, you can just flatten it out and crochet the sleeve in one flat panel from stitch marker to stitch marker. Do the same thing on the other side, obviously making sure that you do the same number of stitches on the other side so that they do match. This is really hard to show, but this is what that other sleeve panel looks like. So now I am all done with the scrap portion of the cardigan and I'm ready to just seam it all up. So what I need to do now is I'm going to start on the bottom of the side of the cardigan. I'm gonna close up this bottom seam. I'm just gonna do single crochets just like I did for the top of the shoulders. So I'm gonna single crochet up the side, and then I'm gonna turn and go down the bottom of the sleeve. I actually shouldn't have to do anything specifically to turn since I'm on the inside of a corner. So just follow the edge here, close up the bottom of the sleeve, and then I will do the cuff. So that's why I'm starting from the bottom of the side of the cardigan, so I can just do it one continuous row, and then I will do probably one, maybe 2 rows of alternating, 1 single crochet and then single crochet 2 together to just close up the cuff just a tiny bit before doing the actual ribbing for the cuff. So I'll do that on both sides with black yarn, and that will finish off the sleeves. And then the very last thing that I have to do is just do single crochets around the front of the cardigan, around the collar. And then I think I said I'm going to do ribbing on the bottom of the cardigan as well. That's not the bottom, this is the bottom of the cardigan. And so I'll do this in basically the same style as the cuffs. I'll probably do it the exact same length as the cuff just to keep things consistent. And all that will be done in solid black, like I said, and then I should have my finished cardigan. I'm really pleased with how quickly this has come together and how easily, relatively, it's been to figure out, you know, the shape and the size and everything. And I think it's gonna look really, really nice when it's all done. I still continue to love how cohesive it is. I did do one little patch of bright pink yarn. That's the brightest color that I did in all of it, but I don't think it looks that out of place because I've got this pretty bright pinky purple. I've got some bright splashes of teal. So I think even though the brightness doesn't show up all over the cardigan, I do think it looks really nice overall. So yeah, okay, I'm gonna finish this up. I will come back at the very end to tell you how all of that went, and then I will also plan to try it on at that time so you can see the full cardigan in its full effect. And yeah, I'm really excited to get this all finished up. Okay, this is gonna be a little bit weird again with the framing, but I finished the cardigan, as you can see, and I think it is so cute. I am so happy with how this came out. The sleeve length is good. The overall length I think is also good. It's definitely a little bit cropped, more cropped than any other cardigan that I've made so far. But let's see, my true waist is like here, the top of my hip is probably here, and like I said, I have a pretty long torso, so I would expect that this will be a little bit longer on the customer, but I think it looks really, really good. It's definitely a true medium also, I think. I usually wear like a medium large size personally, and it's definitely not too tight on me, but it also I don't think will be too loose and baggy on a true medium. So I think it's really good. I did do this part of the cardigan a little bit different from the inspo photo. If you remember, that one also had like full ribbing. I just didn't want to close off the front of the cardigan too much because I think I made these front panels a little bit wider than the front panels on that inspo cardigan. So I just did the ribbing on the bottom all the way around the back, and then obviously the ribbed cuffs as well. Don't know how well you can see those. Yeah, overall, I'm really happy with it. I did already send some pictures of the cardigan to the customer, and she said she loves it, so I'm so relieved and happy about that. If she would have said that she wanted the ribbing to be more like the picture, then I definitely would be able to frog this and do that, but she said she loves it, so I'm going to stick with this. And I'm gonna get a few more pictures and videos and stuff taken of the cardigan for myself. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get it packaged up and shipped off to the customer. I'm really, really loving custom orders like these that stretch me a little bit because this is not something that I have made in the past. But it was really fun to look at an inspiration picture and kind of figure out how to make the item myself, and then also make some slight modifications to it that either fit the customer's preference or my kind of crochet style. And I don't know, I'm already kind of thinking, do I need to make another one for myself or to sell online even? I think one with a base color of white instead of black could also be really cute and fun. And I could do more bright like pinks and oranges, and then still maybe some of the bright blues and stuff because I still have a lot of those scraps. I don't know, that could be a fun, cute variation. And then I was also thinking I could potentially film like a full video tutorial for it, because I did look on YouTube and I don't see any scrap cardigan tutorials that really look like this. I don't know where the inspiration photo that the customer sent me for this came from, if that's somebody who has a pattern or used a pattern. I didn't go looking for written patterns. That's just not my preference personally. I would rather follow a YouTube video tutorial any day, but I wasn't seeing anything exactly like this on YouTube. So then I was thinking, well, maybe I could film something if I choose to make another scrappy cardigan just like this. I could film the process and put it up for anyone else who wants to make something like this for themselves. I don't know, let me know. This is the part of the video where I am now asking for feedback. Let me know if a tutorial like that would be of interest to you, if you would want to make something like this for yourself. And otherwise, just let me know what you think of the cardigan, how you think it looks, even if you're not interested in making one for yourself. How do you think this looks? How do you think it turned out? But that is about all that I wanted to share. Thanks for coming along on this journey with me. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else. So thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you in my next one.